This is actually an exercise that I have my students do, and it's an exercise in negative painting. And negative painting, negatives are those areas, for instance, this area in here is a negative. This area on the side of my head is negative. My head is the positive, my arm is the positive. But looking at negatives will help you define positive spaces. The goal is to move down. Remember I told you this is a pot of petunias, and we are moving down till we get right into the dirt. And we do that in the negative. The whole piece will be painted in one value of cobalt and beryllium. Then in order to create the leaves, you go behind them and make a set of leaves. And then you go even further behind them. You can see I've accomplished that up there. Till you get to the stage where you have a whole series of leaves and petunias all the way back in. So it creates so much depth. And you can see coming through some of these where the color has changed from the underpainting. I'm using cobalt and beryllium. Okay. So this value is probably 20%. So what I want to do is go to 30% value with the same colors, so it's more pigment and less water. So, you know, that's how you keep doing this. You just learn what the pigment is. Now this is almost dry. So what I'm going to start doing is defining some leaf shapes.
By going around them. So the leaf is the part on the
by going behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of a sudden there begins to have leaf shapes, and when that dries, I'm going to come in and go a stronger value in these areas, so that
so you get some dark leaves.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Even darker. So in other words, so like this one, it's just about completed. Actually, it is, because when I'm finally through with all the greens, you know, starting out with that lightest green, and then going back a little bit more, making some sticks, you know, because you see the stems and sticks in there, and then finally putting the complement in, because I don't know if you remember George Seurat. He was a pointillist, and he was a post-impressionist, and he discovered that if you put complements beside each other, you fool the eye into movement. And it's really true. I actually did a huge mural, and I did it in pointillism. It nearly drove me crazy. And I put complements beside each other: orange and blue, green and red, purple and yellow. And it was amazing how it does fool your eye into movement back and forth. So I don't know, I'm going to pass this around. You can see that I put a little bit of red in there, and it does actually create movement. I'm going to leave the little section in the middle white, or no color. Beryllium will not go past 50% in value. So then I've got to introduce another set of blue and yellow, and that's French ultramarine blue and New Gamboge.
To get darker.
To get down in here. So as I say, this isn't necessarily a finished painting, something that I'm going to hang on the wall. This is really an exercise in negative painting. And people struggle with negative painting because, as I say, you've never been taught to think negatively. Okay.
How'd you do your stick? I missed that.
I'll put another one in.
Is it a lighter color or a darker color?
No, I'm just going behind it.
And making a darker color?
No. See?
Oh, now I see it, yeah.
In a way, it's kind of fun because what you're doing, things are all of a sudden appearing to you.
Right.
And it's kind of an amazing, fun thing to do.
So the darker color highlights the stick, and the stick is a lighter color that was there already.
Right, right. Okay. Any flat area, I can come in and make a shape. This is all done in the negative. I've gone in behind all of her hair.
With the blue.
And
brought it in.
That's right. That's right. Rather than come in and draw hair in.
Yeah.
I just, and the same with all of this. Rather than coming in and drawing in each individual hair, I go behind certain areas and make the hair. This is also in the negative. You know, rather than coming in and doing the shape of the straw, you just simply go behind it in order to create the shapes of the straw hat. This is all done in the negative. In other words, I went behind all of the...
I brought the green down into the yellow to make the...
Brought the green down. And the same with this, brought the green up behind the October Glory in order to create the tree.
So it seems like you start with the very lightest colors first.
In watercolor, you start
with
the lightest and go to dark. In oil, you start with the darkest and go to the light. Okay. And the same with the tree. And rather than doing something in the positive, I just go behind some of the areas to create, you know, it gives it so much depth to have this come forward and something behind. Same in here. I've gone behind all of that area in order to create the tree. All of this is the negative. In other words, I created the leaf shapes by going behind up into to darken it. What I wanted to show you is all of the little hairs on the corn and the onion is done in the negative. In other words, I left it white, and then I went behind it with the shadow, and behind it with the rest of the onion to create the negative hair. The idea is, what can you bring to it that's different? And I think every single one of us has a responsibility to show people, to show patrons, to show clients, to show the viewer how you perceive nature, how possibly they might, in fact, that's what this gallery is all about. So you can come in and see the world maybe a little bit differently through everybody else's eyes, through artists' eyes. I hope you've enjoyed this little session and this little in-service, and please come and join us in our Art Presence Arts Center gallery.